Welcome to the Hive.
Just don't put it on TikTok. Like,
It's all on fucking
TikTok.
TikTok.
They're so mean.
Just never
but-
check the comments.
No, I don't. But sometimes you guys post screenshots, and I just
No, we vowed
you
against that now.
assault
No, I
me with
haven't
them
gone
just-
into them in ages.
No,
I
it's all
haven't.
finished.
Shh. I want to tell you
What
about
gonna
this.
Are the comments still bad?
They're
No.
No.
I really want to
Of
hear.
course they are. We're like three fucking annoying
Do you know what?
white
There's
women with
always-
our true crime podcast. We deserve everything
Sorry.
we're getting, but we just don't want to see it.
Unfunny white women.
Oh, yeah.
What we
And also unfuckable.
unfuckable,
Who said that?
unfunny white men.
Legitimately useless. Like.
It's totally untrue.
Well, I don't know. Like,
Welcome to the Creep Dive. I'm Cassie Delaney. That's Jen O'Dwyer. And this is Sophie, best-selling author White, author of The Snag List, which is
Yeah.
available to pre-order now. Don't pre-order from Eason's because I want to win the Stay in the Marker. Pre-order it from somewhere else.
She's
and-
so cute. I love you.
You can, pre-orders are really helpful for authors because it helps them to chart in the first week. And
Bestseller.
musicians.
We're going for bestseller.
We're going for bestseller. We
Got-
are going to get it.
got
It's
to
beautiful,
crack it.
beautiful book. I'm going to give you a little synopsis from the back cover. So, Lindy's ambitions have been hijacked by her son's career. He's 11. Alva has it all: a husband, baby, and a colossal secret. Maybe that's why she's still self-sabotaging. Rose trying for a baby, a risky business when you're not sure you want to be a mother. For 30-somethings Lindy, Alva and Roe, the move to new hyper-polished luxury housing development, Monterey Valley, feels like a slow death by Netflix, neighborhood WhatsApp groups and Saturday nights in. Potential for exciting possibilities seems to be withering faster than you can say postnatal dryness, as their lives are consumed by other halves, domestic drudgery and obligations. But compiling a snag list to send to their builder sees the new friends contemplating their own personal snag lists and inspires a business idea that will change the course of all their lives. But will the friends get their do-over, or do they even really want to?
Yes!
Yes! All of that. All of that.
I don't know why I'm feeling a crushing depression just listening to that.
No.
But thank you, Cassie. Thank you.
Get it
I
into
can't
you.
wait. I cannot wait to read it. And it's a perfectly what's the actual release date when people see theirs?
21st of April.
21st of April. That is perfect.
Like
for
Christ,
your
it has
little-
risen again.
It is exactly.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and for your
This
little
is
holiday
my
reads.
cursed pandemic novel. Like, there were definitely times when I was like, look, I might just like step in front of traffic and just
Yeah.
get out of this whole thing.
No, you're
it looks
underselling
great.
it. Stop
It
talking.
smells great.
It's
it feels
amazing.
great. It's a perfect little Easter read
It's a
into
bit
your
of
summer read.
escapism.
Yeah, we all need
I'm
that.
trying to think of some. Okay, there's wanking in a VR helmet.
Amazing.
Very messy. There is a lot of cocaine at a child's 5-year-old birthday party. Based
Relatable.
On
Oh,
an actual
very
birthday party
relatable.
I've been at with an Irish influencer who has to remain unnamed. There is. I'm trying to think of some like good tip. There's a musical based on Ireland's winning streak of the early 90s.
Amazing.
In, Eurovision.
She's pulling from what she knows. It's gonna be
Rose in
great.
Eurovision.
Exactly. There's the
Yeah.
winning combination.
Oh, there's like a Who's the Daddy?
Nice.
Yeah. There's just some stuff in there that's hopefully a bit of a laugh.
Someone was said on the do you remember Cass your fake baby story? They were like, why didn't you mention Sophie's book? That's the the plot. We were like just hammering on, talking about it.
I did at one point. I was like, "This is a really familiar story. Have we done it again?" I was like, "No,
Oh, it's the book.
it's the book."
Yeah.
Anyway,
Pre-order now.
I really would be massively grateful. And also, I'm touched that Cassie is doing that. Thank you.
Get it in.
Cute. Look at her.
It's fucking very good value as well.
Great value. No idea what it costs.
Yeah.
It is very good
Book
value.
priced.
Get it into you. And while you're at it, pre-order the Pillow Queen's new album also.
Why not? Support our Irish.
Support
brethren.
We're
Irish.
going to them in
We
a couple
are.
of weeks. I must remind you of the date.
Are we?
Yeah, I
Yes!
bought us tickets for our Christmas
You're brilliant
present,
at this.
and it was so long ago I'd forgotten.
Yes, I
It's
can't
like
wait
us
for that.
going to Joanne tonight.
I know.
I was like,
Forgotten
when
all about
did
it.
I do this? Some in the pits of a lockdown.
It's gonna be great.
Listen, will I
Do we have
give
any
you
homework?
a quickie before we get into our juice, our main meat and veg?
Do we have any news?
House creeping.
Yeah.
Well, as ever, we're welcoming new patrons all the time, and we're
New
so happy to
totes are
have
on the
you.
way.
New totes are on the rollout. So I've just posted the last of the old style. And so if you have joined but not yet received your welcome email from me at Creeping for Love, you'll be getting the new style. Which is very
Nice.
exciting. And it's a
Have I seen it?
New and
I
improved
don't
design.
think you have actually. Me and Cass just went right ahead.
Oh, you were here one
Hit
day.
that big red button on it. No, we
But you're the
discussed it
star
with you,
of
but I
it.
don't think you saw.
It's just you.
Oh, great.
But
and
we
it's
tell the patrons what it
Uncut
is.
Jans.
Uncut
Uncut
Jams would be so
Is it?
good.
Uncut
No.
Jans.
No.
It's the iconic Larry is making a reappearance.
Nice.
But as many people accused us rightly of manifesting the whole pandemic by making a tote that said the only way is up for 2021.
I think it was February 2021.
Yep.
2020.
No, 2020.
2020.
Sorry, 2020.
It was a
we
mistake.
have reissued Larry. We have crossed out the only way is up.
Oh, yeah.
And we have replaced it with some iconic text from Cass.
Podcast host gets it wrong. Second podcast host agrees.
Oh, we got to get Jenny back in for another illustration as well.
We do need a new illustration. But this is a good call.
This is a good shout.
And like,
If you have suggestions for illustrations, so do send them
to
to us.
Yeah,
Of
if
the
you have a creep
characters you'd like to
character.
Yeah,
see.
because we have a preferred creep.
So there was a lot of
Artist.
actually, we just have to get straight on to Jenny for a soup can with Big Soup. There was a lot
Of
of
requests for Big
requests
Soup.
for Big Soup merch.
With like a little kind of somewhere on the can.
A little Hitler. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sounds absolutely great. Can I just say a quick thank you to Emer, who I forgot to thank for the on the main, who gave me
Sorry,
the story
just
of
remembered
Liz.
the tiny black square in Father Ted.
We should. You can put that anywhere. Thank you, Emer, for that.
Write some stories.
Okay, stories.
Oh God.
Okay, so I have one from Siobhan. I want to say Siobhan, but it might be Sandra. I do apologize. I will check now. It was Fabulous Creep emailed me, and I love that. And so here we go. This is now something that is now rife in our post-pandemic world: job fishing.
Oh,
It was a kind of a carry-on from Cassie's creep of last week.
Mhm.
Do you remember that creep?
Well, she
about-
got fished in real life.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Indeed.
I forgot. Okay. So here we go. Job fished. The con that tricked dozens into working for a fake design company. So this is from BBC.com, right? And it's talking about how there's a Zoom call, right, with about 40 people on it. And all the people who logged on thought that they were all attending an all-hands meeting at this glamorous design agency. And it was a meeting to welcome all of the newest recruits to the agency. So the agency is called Madbird. And it has, as all of these companies now do, a dynamic and inspirational boss. All basing themselves on Kanye, I guess, and Adam Newman. Ali Ayad wanted everyone on the call to be ambitious hustlers just like him. But what the people who had just logged on didn't know was that most of the other people in the meeting weren't real people. So they were listed as participants. So all the squares,
Yeah.
you know, some of these were listed and they all had email accounts and they had LinkedIn profiles, but all of their names were made up and their headshots belonged to other people. So
Was this live call?
yeah,
They were moving.
these were like a whole rake of people who'd just been hired by Madbird and were like happily sitting on a Zoom call in their new glamorous, cool design company job and listening to their dynamic and inspirational boss. And the whole thing was fake.
Was there any individual there? Was he
So
that worked there?
yeah, so all the real employees that were real people had been job fished. And so basically, so it started with this guy called Chris, right? He's 27. He's a sales manager from Manchester. And he was hired by Madbird back in 2020, months into the pandemic, right? So it was a few months before this particular Zoom call. And he was working from home. And so that was all normal. You know, loads of people moved jobs in pandemic and like hadn't met their coworkers
Yeah.
until like
Mhm.
last week. Like,
I heard great stories of people on their first night outs.
excellent.
Like
Just
nobody
things, just
being-
things not going well. Like just people who've forgotten how to socialize and meeting new people for the first time at a free bar is just it's
A
not
disaster.
Yeah,
it is a disaster.
Because you think you're
Because
getting a
remember,
feel for
Seb
someone.
was playing Handsy Seb on
Yeah.
the mediation training.
That
That's rife now. People do not understand what appropriate touching is anymore. I
No.
mean, I think you can pretty much rule out touching. If
Yeah.
you want to stay appropriate, just don't touch. Easy. It's so easy.
What
But
was
then other people will then start verbally being
Touching.
inappropriate. And you're like, stop verbal touching. That's still touching. You're touching them with your creepy words.
Yeah, PFA.
So anyway, so Chris had a fucking shit pandemic, like so many. He'd lost his last job, hence him applying for this new role at Madbird, that was described as, and I do think there's red flags in this description, human-centered
What does
digital
that
design
mean?
agency, born in London, running worldwide. I just think if you need to say that you're human-centered,
Yeah.
it
It's like
suggests
Google
that you've
saying,
just heard of humans,
Yeah.
and you're going to try and work on it.
you know,
rather
part
than-
of Google's policy, don't
authentically-
be evil.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Why did you bring up evil, Google?
Who's mentioning
You
Why
it?
did you
started
mention it?
it.
Okay, so Madbird had hired like 50 other people, right? And they were all working in sales and some in design and some were supervisors. And every new joiner was like, yeah, you're, work
Onboarding.
from home. This is what we all do. And that's so normalized. And they were all messaging over email. The entire onboarding was happening over email and Zoom. And they were speaking to each other.
Mhm.
And so long days now. It was very busy. There was one guy, right, who was a guy called Jordan, and he was on the sales team. And so to give you an idea of like how busy it was, in 5 months, he had pitched Madbird to 10,000 possible clients trying to
What?
win deals. And,
Cassie.
like what, 5 months, 10,000, what's that? 2,000 a month.
10,000.
I don't believe it.
2,000.
It's
well,
10,000
he's-
emails
Look, he
sent
might
out.
be self-reporting,
Exactly.
which, as we know, is a little bit iffy. But look, sure, he won Employee of the Month, January 2021 of this. Now we realize fake business. But anyway, yeah, there was loads of other staff living outside the UK as well because Madbird was like mad for tapping into the global market, and it just sounds like one of those really irritating places that was just like all about like company culture,
Yeah.
and yeah, there was people hired from like Uganda, India, South Africa, the Philippines. There was loads of people. There was a team.
Real ones.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so there were hires.
And they had job posts for like they wanted a sales team based in Dubai. Yeah. So anyway, they were also offering UK visas for anyone who passed the 6-month probation period and met their sales targets. And basically in their contract, it was said that Madbird would sponsor their move to the UK and their application for citizenship and everything. Application for visa. And so Ali Ayad, right, had a whole kind of mythology around himself, like these guys always do. So he would talk on their Zoom calls and like they're all hands and it's so funny that they're like all hands and it's town hall today. It's such a funny lingo. I hear it all the time.
It's
From Seb
smoke
Summit,
up
you know?
their own hole.
They're always doing
My
all
favorite
hands.
is
Yeah.
in the ether.
In
Oh,
the
it's
ether.
in the ether.
Oh, Dan's new thing. They can't, so they're not allowed to use the F word anymore.
Oh, it's just the M word, is it?
And they have to call each other meta mates.
What?
That's it.
It's very good.
I mean, like, it's just fucking bad shit. And then we're all just like, okay. Strange.
Okay, so Ali had this whole mythology about himself, and he often used to kind of proselytize about like, his past and how, making a new life in the UK was just like so meaningful. And like, he was like pull himself up by the bootstraps kind of guy, and he had changed his whole life. And he basically told one person he was a Mormon from Utah. He said to another person from Lebanon, it's quite different, that he had a very difficult childhood and that had taught him how to be a hustler. He changed his name from kind of conversation to conversation. Sometimes he would add an extra Y.
He's just iterating.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just in a
It's
flow.
the
Yeah.
ether, you know? Yeah, so like he'd call himself Ali Ayadid, kind of Ayadid, or
Okay.
like throw in extra letters. It's a Wordle. And Jesus, did you see on Wordle yesterday the old no vowler? Tryst.
I didn't play it yesterday.
I was
It's a
very
very
proud of myself.
offline weekend.
Not
It's
a
great.
vowel to be had in this word.
I didn't think you could have a word without a vowel.
Well, a Y
T-R-Y-S-T.
behaves as a vowel.
Yeah.
A Y behaves. Oh, what did tryst?
Tryst. Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, oh, Wordle. I see what you're trying to do there. Okay. Yeah. Other times he called himself Alex, Ad, and just like totally changed the last name. He told some things were kind of consistent. He had worked as a creative designer at Nike, and he told everyone kind of about his like high flying career. Everyone said he was very intense, charismatic, caring, very confident, and he had apparently persuaded at least 3 people. I mean, he basically headhunted, but like he persuaded people to quit their other perfectly good jobs to come and work for him.
Mhm.
He has a set of teeth.
I'd go work for him.
Very
to be fair.
handsome.
Look at him, and the density of his hair
Yeah,
I like him.
is rock solid head hair,
yeah.
and a very consistent beard.
Just a confident, smiling individual.
Like, do you know the way Irish men are very kind of beleaguered
be
when
patchy.
it comes to growing a beard?
Can be.
They are beset with
Problems.
kind of sort of,
Personality
consistency issues.
Yeah.
and
And
disorders.
What's the name of this place again? Mad Chicken. What is-
Madbird.
Madbird.
Madbird. So Madbird staff, no reason to doubt him.
I want to have a look.
And and they just like, he said that he was just like, oh,
Why
he
would
was
they doubt him?
human centric.
You wouldn't doubt. But like, what reason would you have? None. You're just like, okay, boss, fine. All sounds great.
One person who worked for him compared him to Tom Cruise. I think she meant that as a compliment. Other
Oh,
people,
God.
he himself
Inspirational.
compared himself to Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Again, questionable.
How do you just drop that in? Similar to Elon. Myself and Elon shared the same trajectory. I mean, how do you?
In one email, he wrote, Elon Musk works 16 hours a day. I'm trying to do 17.
That's
Oh.
depressing.
So that's him like trying to like constantly get people to like push through.
But
And
push
he's
through.
always like quoting Steve Jobs, like, if you want to make everybody happy, don't be a leader. Go sell ice cream. I feel like Ben and Jerry are like chuckling away somewhere to themselves, just
So-
absolutely caned on a bong.
Was there and is there a company? Is there any product being produced? Is there are there clients?
Yeah, so basically there was just like more and more and more people being hired, and like a backlog of deals being negotiated by sales teams. But there was a problem. Of course there was a problem. So they weren't being paid.
Of course not, because he had no money.
So they'd all agreed to work on a commission-only basis for the first 6 months, which is a
Oh,
terrible
dear.
decision. But it's
His
so
promises
evil
were
because
lofty.
he was in the middle of a pandemic, exploiting people, and like you would be so. Of course, you'd be like, "Oh my god,
That sounds
whatever.
great.
Okay, I need
Yeah.
to work." Like, and then after they passed the probation period, they'd be put on a salary. The salaries seemed like reasonably like decent starting salary kind of thing.
Mm.
And then they would be back down to them just working a percentage, earning a percentage of every deal on top of there. So a bit of commission on top. And they were very young, and look, Jesus, they were all fucked. So basically, no deals were ever finalized. And by February of 2021, no client contracts had been signed. And so some people started leaving because things weren't materializing. But like he's still on the town hall every week doing the hard sell and comparing himself to Steve Jobs. So, and people who were staying on and trying to hold out were like getting extra credit cards to
Yeah.
pay for their bills
Jesus.
and fucking real, getting loans and dark shit, like,
Mm.
What was he
And
getting
so
on the back of it?
he was also like, the longer people were there, I'll tell you now, the longer the people were there, like the harder it was to leave. It's like, when you're at the bus stop and you're like, it's not fucking coming, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna walk to the next stop. I'm walking to the next stop.
Yeah.
But now you've invested like 15 minutes
Yeah.
in this one.
What if I miss?
Whoa, exactly. So like every week he'd be like grooming them as well, kind of being like, the next big deal might be just next week, and you know what. So anyway, very obviously why no one was being paid. As he said, no money was coming in. not obvious to the new staff, who thought that they were just joining a really dynamic company,
Yeah.
and that like they just thought all their line managers were on salaries.
Yeah.
And everything was constantly just spoofology, like the next big deal is coming.
And
And then-
unfortunately, it's not uncommon for graduates to be on unpaid internships in creative
Yeah.
agencies.
I did
immediately
4
post-college.
unpaid internships.
I used to
It's
work
the
somewhere it cost
fucking-
me more money to get there than I
Exactly.
used to earn.
Exactly. It was an
Yeah.
absolute the whole concept of unpaid work is wrong.
Oh yeah.
And it only benefits
it's
people who
so-
can manage to,
It still
Well,
hasn't
it
benefited me.
keeps-
Yeah, did it not?
Still hasn't benefited.
Well, it just also keeps so many things out of reach of people who aren't born
Well,
into kind
exactly.
of generational wealth.
And if you didn't
don't
live
have
nearby, you
privilege
couldn't live at
of-
home. It's forget about it.
Exactly. Like, yeah. Okay. So, anyway, the whole thing crumbled in the course of one afternoon, which is kind of enjoyable. So, basically, this woman called Gemma had been working at the company for 2 weeks. She was a designer, and she basically got curious about where she'd be working after the pandemic finally kind of abates. And she went online to have a look for the Madbird address. And basically the results on Google looked nothing like all the videos that Madbird had on his website of like a sleek workspace buzzing with human-centric
Tweeting.
individuals.
Yeah,
And
Twitter.
instead, what was at the Google Street View was this like block of flats, like
His home.
like a block of apartments in Kensington. So like a perfectly nice, I'd say, block of apartments. And so then Gemma contacted an estate agent that had a listing with the same address as her company, and he was like, "Yes, this is an entirely residential building." And then yes, so this was not the global headquarters of a design firm called Madbird. And then she told another Madbird colleague called Antonia. And Antonia was leading the company's expansion into Dubai. Like, I think what all this slightly speaks to is the fact that in some of these kind of, okay, I've never worked in a job like this, so I'm completely speculating and I'm probably being really wrong. And look, sure, what else do I have a podcast for except to
Speculate and be
broadcast
wrong.
absolute inaccuracies
Yeah.
all the time? But basically, like, I feel like it speaks to the kind of like tech company culture of like people getting on calls, doing like 2-hour meetings that could have been an email. People just
Nonsense.
what's the word? Just justifying their
Conflating.
job
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time. So like this woman was like head of the company's expansion into Dubai, but like what could she have possibly been doing day to day?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but sometimes I look at Seb and I think, geez, it's not that different to
Yeah.
working for a fake company.
Well, that's it,
But
the
like
further-
sometimes he'd be there and you'd be like, what are you doing today? And you'd be like, oh, I'm researching hiring in Hong Kong or something. And I'd be like, so weird that like you're just Googling stuff. I mean, I know I just Google stuff.
That's what everyone does. It's just
That's just
everyone
everyone's
is just a
Googling.
Google ahead of
Yeah.
the next person.
But it's the further you
So-
are from the tangible product.
That's it.
And now that
Yeah.
nothing is really tangible
Nothing
anymore,
is, exactly.
it's very hard to just, what decision are you making here? What
am
physical
I selling?
thing
What am I buying?
is happening? What is
Yeah.
happening? Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. But I guess when you're in it, you're just in it. I mean, you're booked into meetings, you're talking to this, that, and the other, you're making a presentation about things. And
You're doing the minutes of the meeting.
What-
You're
yeah,
doing
exactly.
an agenda for the next meeting.
and you're just you're in meeting land.
anyway,
That's it.
I mean,
Meetings
there's
about
smart
meetings about
cookies.
meetings to talk about things
That's
that are
it.
in the ether
Exactly.
or are coming down the pipeline.
Yes.
That is it.
okay.
And then you walk out of the meeting, there's no tangible work to be done because you're like, that's all in the ether, down
Waiting
the
to
pipeline.
happen.
We'll circle back and talk about that again.
Exactly. We need these jobs, guys.
Okay, just to the patrons out there, drop your favorite absolute
Fake work.
bullshittery work phrases in the comments under this episode because I want to hear them. But like, because we've obviously moved a long way from my cock's on the line here, or my cock's on the block. But anyway, look, Jem and Antonio are smart cookies, and they were reverse image searching all the images from the Madbird website that were claiming to be of the workspace and stuff like that. They'd all been stolen from other places on the internet. They then started trying to contact some of the other colleagues that they'd been messaging online and started to realize as the further they were going through, there was less of these people kind of appearing to be real. Like their colleagues didn't exist.
But I will say he must have had some money because his Zoom bill for having that many fake Zoom accounts must have been through the roof.
And he's slammed. Like he is just meeting after meeting.
I mean,
after-
it'd be funny if all of this was only serving a kind of megalomaniacal delusion.
Yeah.
Like that it's not even in pursuit of money, but just in pursuit of
meetings.
being in charge of all these people and
Yeah.
just getting on Zooms with all these people,
Inspiring
respecting him and
and-
listening to him.
Yeah.
So they didn't know what to do. They were like, well, we just leave without causing a stir.
Yeah, kind of. You'd be like, oh, can't be arse. Like, I need to
Drift
get
away
a
from
job.
this potentially fake company.
Well, that's
Like,
it.
they also didn't know like what was behind it. What was the scale of it?
Or maybe
what
there
was
was
its
a
purpose?
grand plan that they weren't aware of.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what they were like. Ugh, what are we getting into if we try to expose
Well, that's it. I don't want to
Like, should we be
explode my own
scared?
career, potentially.
Yes. And but then they were also worried about like others like themselves who were just clearly people who were in it and just taking it all in good faith and believing they were going to work at a company
And
every
getting
day.
financially deeper and deeper into a hole.
Yes. So then what they did was they set up an alias, Jane Smith. I think a missed opportunity. I definitely think that could have been a moment to use Peter File, the classic, or Hugh Janus.
Hugh Janus
A
needs
classic.
more. We haven't seen Hugh in ages.
Haven't seen Hugh in ages. Anyway, they sent a staff email to everyone on the staff, and it basically it was real bold. It was like, look, this is unethical and immoral behavior. It's stealing this Madbird. Like they knew just from brass tacks that Madbird was stealing the work of others because on the website it was examples of Madbird's work that they had taken from other agencies and stuff like that. So they knew that, like, just bottom line, they could say that that was true.
Yeah.
And they also believed that Madbird was fabricating humans. This human-centric company was just making people up, and that everyone had fabricated team members. And you think you're a manager, but actually those 4 people aren't real and they don't exist.
But are they getting back to you?
So
Are they hired actors? Do they exist somewhere? Are they appearing at meetings?
That's it. You see, it's like a mix. There's like about 20% real people involved, and then like 80% fake LinkedIn profiles, faked emails, and fake sign-ons to the Zooms. Do you remember saying there was a Zoom meeting, but only about 10 of them are real? So like they basically wrote this email. They were like, we have a strong reason to suspect that the founders of Madbird have been fabricating team members, client work portfolio, past work, and office locations. And so everyone was really devastated. All the real people were devastated, and they went to the BBC.
Nice.
They were like, please look into this more, because they just didn't have the resources.
Well, they needed to go get a
And
job.
they needed to get a fucking job fast. So, so the BBC discovered that the company had not been shipping products and experiences locally and globally for 10 years, as was its claim. Let's just sit with the claim for a minute. Shipping products and experiences locally and globally for 10 years. It's the most
a
brilliantly
little
bamboozling
bit of
sentence.
everything
They're
all
just
of the
like,
time.
Such
It's not a
such
you could
agency
argue
speak.
We've been shipping experiences for our whole lives. Define it, sir. And who's been buying it? Is it a thing someone bought?
I'm jumping on an investor call immediately after this, and I'm going to say we ship experiences
Yes,
worldwide.
absolutely.
Yes,
And
Cass.
I'm going to get €1 million.
What's the other
How local is like local? Am I shipping you an experience right here,
Yes,
right now,
so-
Cassie? I think I am.
Received.
So they discovered that the 10 years, just to begin with, was bullshit. That Ali Ayad had registered the company on the set 2020. Like the same day that he hired that very first guy, Chris. And so like imagine just in the morning, register a company, make up a name, buy a domain, hire your sales manager in the
That's
afternoon.
a lot of effort.
It's just insane. They said that all of most of the senior employees profiled by Madbird were fake, and their identities were like stitched together using photos stolen from random corners of the internet and made up names. There was a Hugh Janus. I'm joking, there wasn't. But
Annette Curtin.
was the
Pull yourself
co-founder.
together.
The co-founder of the company was made up, Dave Stanfield.
You should make that up.
What did you say?
I said Annette Curtin. She goes, pull yourself together.
It's funnier now because you repeated it.
Well, that's what she said.
Well,
I
because
said, what
fucking-
did you
I
say?
trampled all over your fucking joke, and it was really
You
good.
said it very
Thank you.
silently.
Pull yourself together.
It's for the listeners.
That's true. They can hear it. It's
Oh,
actually
it's us
true.
just
Yeah, it's like
screaming to ourselves.
exactly. I often when I'm listening back, I'm like, just I missed that altogether, Cass.
So yeah, Dave Stanfield, Ali's co-founder, just not a real person. Ali just refers to him constantly, at all the time, constantly referring to
Dave.
Dave.
Dave, don't make me get Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
you
make
wait
me
till
escalate
Dave get
this
home,
to
gets
Dave.
home. So people had also received emails just from Dave separately to Ali. Do you know what I mean? And Ali had told one employee if they wanted to get in touch with Dave, they should email him because he was usually too busy with projects for Nike to jump on a call.
Oh yeah.
Why are we all jumping on calls?
I don't know why we're jumping
on the call.
onto them.
Pop.
So they're using facial recognition technology, right? The BBC were able to match Dave Stanfield's headshot to its actual owner. This is so good. So the actual owner is a Prague-based beehive maker
Random.
named Mikhail Kallis. And when the BBC tracked Mikhail down, he confirmed that he had never heard of Madbird, Ali Ayad, or Dave Stanfield. So check it out. This is Dave Stanfield
With a beehive.
profiler
Yeah.
on the Madbird website. Real corporate, love it. Over here we have actual Mikhail.
He's so happy
who
looking with
owns
his
this
bees.
face that Dave has got, and he's there beside his beehive. And he's delighted with life.
I mean,
and
it's
he's-
kind of.
and he's not a co-founder of a design agency.
I would be sort of chuffed that someone thought I had the face of a successful individual.
Give them a
Um,
clear vision
It'd
now
be
so
so
they can
funny
copy it.
to be Mikhail and then go and see
There you go.
yourself MD of this startup in the UK.
And why would you
Just like-
deny it? She'd be like, okay.
You'd be there going like, I like those specs.
Yeah.
I like the wire rim. Maybe I'll go for a wire rim next time. And there was another guy called Nigel White who somebody using his name had logged into the Zoom call, the big Zoom call in January, but his photo wasn't this graphic designer, it was a model. And this model was one of the first results when you search for, quote, ginger man in Getty Images stock library. And his face is all over the internet. He actually is the spit of
Fierce.
my husband.
Yeah.
Look at him, Nigel White, graphic designer. No, stock image, ginger man.
Ginger man.
So fucking good. Others are actually even wackier. There was a graphic designer, a brand growth manager, and a marketing manager who all actually were pictures of a Lebanese doctor, a Spanish actor, and an Italian fashion influencer.
Very diverse workforce,
Very.
though.
So
Yes.
diverse. They're ticking a lot of boxes, just not the real people type box.
Sad.
All of their photos stolen, yes. Madbird listed 42 brands as former clients, including Nike, the Tate, and Tony and Guy. And BBC did the legwork, phoned 42 of them. They have never worked with Madbird.
Don't exist.
So
What happens to, has he committed a crime? Presumably, yes.
But he didn't get any money out of it.
No, but he didn't pay anyone for work.
he's going to have charges because I believe he is, because he stole like intellectual property of other businesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like he stole pitch documents from like an actual London-based design firm called Hatched, which is kind of, I don't know why it feels ironic or
Bird,
something.
Madbird and
Madbird, Hatched. And like he lifted pitches and documents, like just copy paste. And he also just stole like personal bios of their top team and just like lashed it onto his. It's just like, do you remember the way the Warrior Eli hoax was that like 11-year-old girl who was just like building herself this elaborate fiction in her bedroom? It feels like this, only like this guy just wanted to be
He
a
just
tech startup guy. And
Yeah.
he was like, I'm just going to basically do like
Fake it till I make
it's like
it.
a scrapbook
Yeah.
online.
Yeah. Do you
And
think
he's got real people, and it's like LARPing, but they don't know they're involved in his LARP.
Did it just get out of hand? Like, did it just spiral? And then he started buying his own bullshit and there was no way back. And he was like,
Yeah.
maybe I will get a client and then I'll be able to pay people and it'll become real.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they investigated his whole CV. Obviously, every university he said he had attended had never heard of him. Any of the companies he said he worked for had never heard of him.
But he worked for Nike.
no.
Oh, I thought you. I thought-
Nike confirmed in writing that they hadn't employed anyone with his name or any of the variations of his own name that he variously uses to different people that all apparently work for him. Then he did have this Instagram account, right, where he posted updates about his career as a model and influencer to more than 90,000 followers. 90,000 followers.
Paid
His
for.
social media presence was kind of one of the reasons that he felt like he was checking out to
Yeah.
people who were coming to work for him. And but everything on Instagram, just like everyone's Instagram profile, was like absolutely bore no resemblance to the life he actually led. And so they found, BBC noticed one post that was like an open issue of GQ magazine with Ali Ayad modeling a blazer in a full page ad
Huh.
for Massimo Dutti,
Oh,
which is quite a big brand. And the caption reads, "Hustle in silence. Let your success make the noise."
That's the opposite of what he's doing.
It truly is. So that post where he claimed he'd modeled for Massimo Dutti had like 4,000 likes. But when the BBC got a hold of the actual GQ issue and opened it to page 63, the photo of Ali wasn't there. It was just an advert for a watch. This watch.
and he put
So
him.
look, there's the real issue with
Yeah.
like this profile on these
Get
these
mashed.
guys, and
Yeah.
then there's like just a big picture of a watch, and then what we have on his
He has photoshopped in the worst image of anybody ever taken.
incredibly
It's
pale looking image.
Fucking
Like,
ridiculous.
For someone who was a very handsome man who
to
could
believe
be a
that
model.
This
Yeah.
is like an editorial shoot for Massimo Dutti. He is wearing
A fedora.
a fedora at an angle. He's got like
He's wearing
a-
a child's blazer.
I was about to say a way too small shirt.
yeah,
And
blazer.
It's
and hold on, it's
completely
open
unbuttoned.
with nothing.
It's very unique.
And
Stevens Green
he-
Shopping Centre,
Isn't
isn't it? Closing down
remember
sale.
Unique?
Yeah, of course I do.
Oh, thank you for putting Unique back. Right
It's
in the
got
forefront of my
elbow
brain.
patches and nothing on.
Like there's just no. It's just amazing. It's amazing. And even like, look at the detail on this Photoshop cast. I mean, I feel like you will appreciate this. He's got the fold of the magazine shadow, like done quite well. What do you think? On
Yeah,
here?
I mean, it wouldn't be. It actually, it's a clean enough cut. It wouldn't be that difficult to do that.
Yeah, I
He
mean, I
has
guess
gone
some
nicely
shading or
in.
whatever, but he has done it well.
Yeah.
Which you have to admire.
What was the caption under the image? But was this an Instagram photo?
The
His
caption,
caption.
his caption
Yeah.
was "Hustle in silence.
sorry. Oh,
Let
sorry.
your success make the noise."
I thought that was the ad.
Oh, sorry,
tag.
sorry, my bad.
No, no.
Yeah,
Either way, it's stupid.
yeah. So then, the morning after Gemma and Antonia sent their Hugh Janus email, Ali Ayad sent his own email. If any of this information came to be true, he wrote, "It is as shocking to me as it is shocking to all of you." I, for one, am shocked to learn that I am the founder of a fictitious
That I am
startup.
not real.
Dave?
Dave? That is
Dave's not real.
Fucking gas.
And so he said that he was just like, he had no idea. As the company's director, he would still take full responsibility. Brave.
Yeah.
Hashtag brave. He promised to remove Madbird's website and pause all ongoing work until we, quote, fix this. And then, before he signed off for a final time, a flash of remorse. I have put 16 hours every single day for months and done the best that I could. I thought you were going to do 17. Ali.
Exactly.
Anyway, and I've done the best that I could to make this work. I should have known better, and for that I am truly sorry.
So he,
What are you saying, Ali?
exactly, you did or you didn't know.
It,
You're shocked or you
he is both shocked and,
and
Is
taking
it?
responsibility.
Maybe he's shocked that after putting 16 hours every single day for,
For 2
months,
months.
into this
Yeah.
absolute made up bullshit, he's stunned that he didn't know better.
What
Yeah.
is incredibly
that, he is
impressive,
truly
the
sorry.
most impressive thing about this is they have a little video here where they say confronting Ali. He is wearing those old school Bluetooth clip-on phone things.
Okay, one sec. You have to start that from the beginning and give us some volume on it.
Okay.
So basically,
Hi,
Ali Ayad.
wait,
My
bef-
name's
pause.
Catherine I'm from the BBC.
I'm going for a piddle.
well, I was just going to say, oh yeah, okay. But he basically just went to ground. Are we,
Yeah.
are we recording?
We're we're still
yeah.
recording, just the video went off.
So he just totally went to ground, stopped any communication, and withdrew from the digital ether. So
Wise
things
choice.
were in the ether, and then he withdrew from the ether. The people who worked for him were fucking devastated, jobless. Some of them had given about 6 months or more to.
And they're probably borrowing money thinking it's going to come.
Exactly. That original guy, Chris, who was hired the day that Ali Ayad essentially decided to make up a company, he had run up a debt of 10 grand to pay bills while he was waiting for the first. Another woman, Steffi, had quit a good job to join Madbird, and she felt pressured into quitting to come work for him. And then there was all the international staff. I mean, oh my God, there was a guy in India, incredible name, Elvis John, who had been expecting to be on a flight to the UK, like imminently, like
So he's
fucking,
packed up his life.
yeah, he was getting ready to leave, and he was weeks from finishing his 6-month probation period, and literally being like, my new
visa.
life now. I'm going to the UK. I'm working for this amazing job. When he said that he fell into a huge depression.
Of course he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because not only are you financially and you've no job, you also feel like a complete idiot.
I'm sorry, he was originally from India, but he was actually in Dubai, just to clarify. So in Dubai, right, he was even in a more dire straits because he thinks that if he had negotiated any deals to completion, he actually would have faced legal consequences under Dubai's strict business rules. And possibly even imprisonment and deportation back to India. So he was just being put through so much. Loads of people were just really embarrassed about the whole thing, which is really fucking sad because they were victims of this absolute lunatic. They tried to pursue Madbird through employment tribunal, arguing that they should now be awarded minimum wage at least for the time that they spent there.
Yeah.
And he didn't respond to the tribunal in time. Then when he did, the judge ordered them to be paid 20,000 in wages total. And he's appealed that decision. His appeal, they upheld their original decision. He is appealing again. So he's just stonewalling and delaying, and and if he fails to appeal it and the decision is upheld, doesn't mean that these 3 people will actually get any money, because the tribunal order was made against the company, not him as an individual.
Yeah.
So if the company was insolvent, and most fictitious companies are, there's no way the tribunal could force it to pay because there's no money. And there was one employee offered money, guy from York who'd worked for 2 weeks when the revelations came, and basically he got £29.70.
Jesus.
And this apparently Ali had agreed to pay. And so the BBC obviously approached Ali, and he was going to speak to them and give them his version of events. But again, he just continued to just fuck them around basically. And after months of messaging, he agreed to have a sit down on camera. But then with a day's notice, he dropped out. And so the BBC made a video called Confronting Ali, and Cassie's going to play now some audio. Just talk us through his appearance first, Cassie.
His appearance is he's wearing a leather jacket,
Unique.
Very unique. Black jeans, but he's wearing those Bluetooth headsets from the early 90s.
From the BBC. Come on, it's time to talk to us, Ali. Why did you make up a fake company and then take advantage of people when they were at their most desperate?
He's walking head down,
You
ignoring.
must want to say sorry for what you did. Ali, you said you were going to speak to us. It's been months and months we've been asking you for an interview. You must want to apologise to all the people that you tricked, that you lied to. They lost money, Ali.
This is your version of the story, okay?
We have been waiting to hear your version of the story, Ali, for months.
You don't know all the things behind the story. You have heard one version of the story. You need to see two sides of the story. There's always a different side of the
Ali,
story.
I'm here to hear your
I told
side.
you, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to sit down with you and I will tell you. But right now, not right now.
Unfortunately,
Not
Ali,
right now.
unfortunately, Ali, I don't believe you. Do you know how badly you affected people with what you did?
All I know is that we create opportunity for people.
You didn't create
Well,
any
yes.
opportunities
We
for
create
anyone.
opportunities to
Ali.
work in the midst of COVID. And
Ali,
we
Ali, you employed
within a very
people.
short period of time, we created a lot of opportunities for people to work. That's what I know.
Are you serious? It
I'm
was a
100%
fake
serious.
company, Ali.
It's not a big
You're-
company.
it's
What is a company? What is a company?
Oh.
What even
What
is
is a
a
company?
Ali,
What
your
is a company?
co-founder,
What is a company?
Dave Stanfield,
What is a
Doesn't.
company?
doesn't
Can you please
exist.
tell me what is a
Who's
company?
Dave Stanfield? Ali, yes, it
What
was
is
a
a company
company
made of?
on company's help.
What is a company?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's real.
Frustrating beyond belief. He'll never take responsibility. That's it.
So there is I will finish on there is two theories onto why as to
Mhm.
why he did this. Okay, so one is that the whole thing was an attempt to start an actual business.
Yeah.
And that
Fake it till you make it.
While it may may have started out as a lie, maybe it would have actually started closing deals and making money. Like the staff did believe they were just days from signing clients on when everything fell apart. But like, I just don't know about that. I mean, I
No.
don't think that really speaks to why there was so many invented senior
Yeah.
staff were fake. So many just fake people, and the legwork, like just all of that lying, as per usual.
Exhausting.
if
Way
any of
harder
them-
than just doing a job.
Exactly. Like he could just started a nice little grassroots design company, just get a couple of people on
Open
board.
an Etsy
just-
store
and
and,
just grow
slowly
it.
grow it.
But he just, yeah. So this really, I think it's way more the second explanation, which is that it was about more than money. Ali Ayad got a kick out of pretending to be a boss.
Yeah.
He just cosplaying.
Yeah.
He genuinely appeared to enjoy his time running Madbird. Job interviews with him often lasted more than an hour because he had nothing else to do.
Talking about
Just
himself.
talking about himself and spoofing. Just shitology. He told stories about how he had turned people's lives around by spotting their talent and giving them a chance. He sent staff links to deep house music to listen to while working. Sorry, that one really got me. He wanted to be a cool boss.
Yeah.
Not like those other bosses. And for the months Madbird was online, that's how people treated him. And yeah, basically it is one of the
Ongoing.
most bizarre and needless exercises in ego that I've ever heard. It's
Fascinating though.
fascinating. I mean, like,
It's
yeah.
the psyche of the type of individuals who do this, which is so fast, like remorseless and able to sleep at night. Well, he wasn't sleeping much, 16-hour work days. But
Mm.
even so,
imagine working 16 hours on your
Imagine-
not real company. I
but
mean,
imagine
how bad are you
talking-
at not real business?
But
that
to-
you
you're
need to put in the
talking-
16 hours?
you're talking someone into moving. You're telling someone they're moving continent.
Yeah.
And it's not true. And you're listening to them tell you that they're packing up their home, they're signing leases, and you're like, nothing's going to happen here, pal.
It
Is he
is
just there laughing at them?
absolutely psychopathic?
Or maybe he just believes it truly will. Like, it's bizarre.
I
Thank you,
think
Subs.
he's just so high
Darkness.
on telling, like, I don't know, the women he's matching with on Bumble that, like, he's an entrepreneur and
Yeah.
he's got a team doing expansion in Dubai, and he's got this, that, and the other. And there's Dave as well. I couldn't do it without Dave, but really it's me. And also, just to clarify, it was neither Sandra nor Siobhan who sent me that story, but Susie.
Oh, you're there.
Thank you, Susie.
You got it.
I'm sorry, I didn't really intend for it to be such a large scale
It was fascinating, though.
story. Have I completely fucked us over?
No, what time are we out there for?
Oh my
50.
God, I'm so
We will know.
sorry.
We believe it because I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. This is a long story. I'll save it for next week.
Yeah, let it marinate. They always
Let it
get
marinate.
better when
There's
they're
more to be
marinating.
done it, but it's another con. It is a fantastic man called Gregor McGregor who sold investors a country that didn't exist.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So it's
Very
a good
exciting.
one. We're going back in time. We're going back to 1820.
Favorite.
1820.
Yeah, and he's Scottish, and we're gonna spend the whole time being like Gregor
Oh.
McGregor.
Alak is Moxie. That's not Scottish.
To take us home, there's been a fabulous review
Of
in
us.
this Christian article. No, Florence and the Machine. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Florence and the Machine promoting lesbianism and spinsterism.
Yes, my favorite things.
Enter
Hot spinster lesbians.
Enter a lanky, flat-chested English musician named Florence Welch.
Oh my God.
Who-
Did the Phoenix write this?
Who has the hair color of the devil's flesh. She sings like a siren, drawing men to their death and women to a life of bareback scissoring. No woman can listen to this reincarnation of the devil Lilith and dream of marrying a man and carrying his child. Any woman that hears
Is this written by a confused woman?
Any woman that hears this wretched music wants to bury her head into Florence's lap and earn the badge of satanic red wings. Wow.
Brilliant.
How
Oh
good
my
did you
God.
feel if you
That's what I want my
brain does when
eulogy
I
to
skip
be.
my mood stabilizer. That review is what my brain sounds like.
Anyway, that'll take us out. Thank you
extra.
for being a Hive patron. Sorry, a patron.
I really want to say this one other thing because I feel like it's a companion piece to my other thing.
Okay.
Go on.
And it's not very, it's just like, I feel like when will I ever be able to bring this up again?
Go on.
Okay, so there's a website called askamanager.org. And it's
Yes.
quite fun. And there's a kind of a reader query. The subject line, the new hire who showed up is not the same person we interviewed.
Oh, I know this story.
Do you-
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
hear it?
yeah.
I think, did I send it to us actually in our thread? It happened only a month ago.
Oh, maybe
Okay.
I don't then.
So basically, a reader writes, this situation is currently unfolding at my husband's office. So I'm a very amused bystander, and I thought I'd get your opinion on this craziness. My husband works in IT and is on the leadership team. All of it is starting immediately to sound the entire
Yes.
thing invented. But anyway, at a mid-sized private company. He was part of a panel that recently interviewed a number of folks for an open position on his team.
So
They're-
this mid-sized leader is
Her husband.
her husband, okay?
Yeah. And they're entirely remote. And they had a few candidates for a first and second round and had one make it to a third final round before an offer. Quote unquote, John. So basically, third round or whatever, he gets the job. John, quote unquote, accepted the offer and started last week. Except it's not the John my husband remembers. My husband was confused and said the following things were odd. John has different hair and now wears glasses.
Mm-hmm.
John is talking extensively about working in a garage because his 3 children and wife are home. In the interview, he made references to being single and was visibly in an indoor desk area. John can't answer a number of questions that they previously discussed in the interview, things pretty pivotal to the position. Husband describes John as being aloof and pretty timid, whereas John was confident and articulate when they interviewed him. He's convinced that this is not the same person they hired. I agreed that all of these things taken together make this very odd, but each one could have a valid explanation. I told him the most likely explanation is the hiring committee simply mixed up the candidates, or HR did, and the wrong John was offered and accepted.
Yeah.
He agreed, but said since only one candidate made to the third round, it is really unlikely. Other candidates had been sent rejections before the third round even occurred, and there was only one person in the
And
third
can
round.
this mid-sized manager not ask his colleagues?
Well, so he's confident that there isn't a mix-up, right?
Okay.
And so then All of this is a bit moot as my husband is in his notice period and we'll be moving to a new company anyway in a few weeks, but he feels like he's going crazy. So this woman is like, is this a thing? In a now mostly virtual world, are people perhaps paying people to conduct interviews for them?
So, yes.
The situation is actively unfolding, so I'm sure I'll have updates. The less mature side of me wants him to start planting fake references to the interview conversations they had to see if John bites, but I digress. So then here's
That must be what
updates.
happened.
Update 1, 11:57 a.m. A very quick update. My husband just came out of his office and said he has a text from his boss, Holly, on his personal cell because she didn't want it on the company network. She wants to know if he thinks John is acting a lot different than the John they hired. He responded and told her all of his suspicions, with the caveat that he didn't want to accuse him of anything, but
Oh, here
something
we
is
go.
very off.
Yeah.
She too thinks it's unlikely candidates were mixed up because she has his resume, and John claims all the same work history / credentials as the John they interviewed. They are on a call with HR as I type this. Unclear if they are working out an error by the hiring committee or an unraveling of fraud. More to come. Alas, my planting fake callbacks idea has no time to come to fruition. Update 2, 12:25 p.m. This is like 30 minutes later. Husband just got off call with Holly, their HR business partner and the eternal recruiter who sent the offer. They confirmed the right candidate was offered a job and agreed many things were odd. Another oddity revealed on that phone call. John didn't know who Holly was. She had to reintroduce herself, and he asked about her role. Holly was on 2 of the 3 rounds of interviews, and they extensively reviewed her org chart and her role. So, like, he's been on 2 interviews with her.
Well, why isn't he playing dumb? Why isn't he going along with his own scam?
They're currently speaking with their legal team to discuss options and when to bring John into the mix to try to explain. I love corporate structure.
Yeah.
No,
It
I
is
couldn't
so funny.
because you have to be so careful about what you
You
say.
literally
can't
cannot
use-
do anything.
Exactly. So update 3, 1:43 p.m. So we're still in the same day. It's definitely been a crazy morning. They're waiting to hear back from legal. I think they're weighing whether they confront John and let him try to explain or let him go anyway. I think let him go, guys. He either lied about his identity or lied about his experience since he's unable to speak about the basics of the job now. So regardless, it seems like he will be gone. I will keep you updated on what he learns next. Husband is in a rabbit hole of research now, and apparently this fake interviewing thing is a thing. The job in question is a MuleSoft architect. Bizarre.
What?
I imagine it is a,
Software.
yeah, like he's an
MuleSoft.
engineer or something.
Yeah.
So he does MuleSoft architect. Yeah. Update 4, 3:13 p.m. They heard back from legal, who are less than thrilled about the situation. They approved HR to have a conversation with John regarding what has been reported, more in the vein of, there's been some concerns about performance and you overselling abilities, and less of the, we think you are a liar
Yeah.
route. In the meantime, legal approved security to put a trace on John's computer to review if there have been any outside messages or if his work is being completed with outside help or
That
a
feels
different computer
worse than just
altogether.
accusing him of lying and having
I
it
know.
out with them. Just ask him.
I know, it's so weird because I always think it's a bit like, you know, when people are like, "Oh, don't," I wouldn't send it through my work email, and I'm always
Yeah.
like, "Is that a bit?"
Well,
I mean,
obviously
No, you
it's a bit
can,
over the
'cause you
top,
can
but
go
it's totally
in,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. So anyway, they think that John's likely to resign, claiming a poor fit rather than get caught admitting fraud, and so then.
I like his
Last
gumption.
update is 5:05. It's only the end of the day. It's John's first day at work. As soon as HR got on the call with John, before they could even get to their first question, John said, "I quit," and hung up the phone.
He was rumbled.
He has since
The
been
gig is up.
unreachable.
Oh, but
So-
like that's brass neckery of the kind that I sort of admire.
But see, the thing is, it's not that it's fraud for a job. There are tech people who are trying to get into tech companies to access the tech.
Oh,
And then you implant a bug, and then you can.
So they're like,
So you
a
can either
spy.
implant a bug, and then you have to you
You
charge.
just
loads of
get your
money to
logins
get it
day
fixed,
one, and you make a load of.
Yeah, you
stuff
have to be
happen.
so careful. I think
For
that's what was
God's
going on when
sake.
I was catfished. Was someone was trying to access the back end of the product.
all the stuff you've been paying for.
Exactly.
I see. God, Jesus, it's one of that. It's all change.
You know, you can really mix it up these days with the old cons and scams. Like I used to be
can.
like, oh, doing
The
crimes in the
cloud.
olden days was just way easier. But now I'm like, well, there's a lot you can do now, though.
Well, it's fun as it like the olden time crimes were much more fun because they involved disguises and skullduggery,
And
but
going places.
yeah,
Whereas
this sort
now
of
you're just
boring
sitting on your
hacking
couch,
is
kind of
less cool. But this
fumbling.
hack and then other individual
and then show
come
up
up
at work.
is very good. Anyway,
So
that's
good.
the Hive. Thank you, listeners. Thank you
Thank
again for
you.
everything.